Viewer discretion is advised.
The Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation is trying to piece together what happened to a mother who was murdered and her body dumped in a trash can outside of her home in Logan County.
On January 28, 2026, in an upscale neighborhood just outside Edmond, Oklahoma, deputies responded to what seemed like a routine welfare check. A mother hadn't been heard from in days. Her car sat in the driveway. Her bedroom door was locked from the inside, but she was nowhere to be found. When officers arrived at the home on Treviso Trail in the quiet Cascata Falls neighborhood, they found two teenage boys. Both appeared nervous. Both had a story to tell, but only one was telling the truth. Within hours, 49-year-old Spring Weems was discovered dead in a trash can at the curb outside her own home. And the person who confessed to putting her there was her own 16-year-old adopted son, Jordan Weems, who admitted to killing Spring with a hammer he got in the garage. This is the story of a family shattered by discipline, rebellion, and a murder that no one saw coming. Before we go any further, I want to ask you something. Cases like this take hours of research, verification, and careful storytelling to get right. If you appreciate true crime that respects the victims and sticks to the facts, hit that like button right now. It tells me you want more cases covered this way, and it helps this video reach people who care about the truth. All right, let's begin. To understand what happened in that home, you first need to understand who Spring Weems was. Spring Weems was known as a loving, faith-driven parent who dedicated herself to raising her children. She lived in a $340,000 home in the Cascata Falls neighborhood, a place where neighbors described the community as close-knit, where kids rode bikes down the street and families knew each other by name. Spring was a single mother who had devoted her life to her children. According to court documents, Spring Weems and her ex-husband adopted Jordan Weems and two other children 11 years ago. The couple also had two biological children. After her divorce, Spring Weems, a single mother, lived in an upscale neighborhood near Edmond with her two adopted teenage sons. Weems was an active parishioner at the non-denominational Evangelical Life Church and frequently shared her faith through online platforms. She attended her son's school activities, including high school wrestling matches. Friends and neighbors described her as dedicated, committed, and someone who would go above and beyond for any cause she believed in. A close friend told reporters that Spring was a bright light who lit up any room she entered. And this was a woman who chose to be a mother, not just to her biological children, but to children who needed a home. She was raising teenagers in a world that isn't easy for anyone, let alone a single parent trying to do it alone. But something was happening inside that home that the neighbors couldn't see. In the weeks leading up to January 28th, things had been tense. According to court documents, Jordan and one of his brothers had recently been in trouble for sneaking out of their home and running from law enforcement during the night. This wasn't a one-time incident. It had become a pattern. Spring Weems was at her breaking point. She needed to get through to her sons that their actions had consequences. So she did what she thought was right. She imposed discipline. In Spring, Weems made the brothers write apology letters to the police and others, but she didn't stop there. Spring Weems took Jordan's clothes and bedding and locked them in her room and made Jordan wear an orange jumpsuit. According to the affidavit, she made him wear an orange jumpsuit to show him what life as a prisoner might be like if he did not start behaving. Jordan also had to eat prison foods like ham and beans, and chicken and beans. Was this discipline harsh? Absolutely. Was it designed to shock him into better behavior? Without question. But here's what we know from court records. This was a mother trying to prevent her son from ending up in the juvenile justice system. She was trying to scare him straight. But instead of fear leading to change, it may have led to something far darker. Because according to the affidavit, when questioned by authorities, Jordan's brother said several times over the days before the murder, Jordan mentioned that he was going to kill their mother. He wasn't hiding his anger. He was announcing his intentions, and no one stopped him. I want to pause here and ask you a question. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Where do you draw the line between tough discipline and going too far? This is a conversation worth having, and I genuinely want to hear what you think. So leave a comment and let's talk about it.
This is an incredibly sad story.
What happened on the night Spring Weems was killed was not a crime of passion. It wasn't a moment of rage that got out of control. According to investigators, it was planned. The Logan County District Attorney's Office said the killing was not a crime of passion or an instantaneous decision. Court documents reveal that the defendant threatened to kill his mother leading up to the crime. Here's what Jordan Weems confessed to police. Jordan admitted to killing Spring with a hammer he got in the garage. Investigators said he told them he stood in the hall between the laundry room and the kitchen, waited for Spring to come out of the kitchen, and then struck her in the head. He didn't strike once and stop. Investigators said Jordan continued to strike Weems until she wasn't moving anymore. Then, in an act of cold calculation, he said he then placed her body in the trash can and rolled it to the curb. He cleaned up the scene. He lied to his family about where she was. When his biological brother came to the home the next day and asked where their mother was, Jordan said she left to help his sister with her new baby. And he acted like nothing had happened, like his mother was just out of town helping family. But Spring Weems was already dead, and her body was sitting in a trash can at the end of the driveway. The truth began to unravel when Spring's family realized something was very wrong. One of Spring's biological children went to the home a day before and asked Jordan where she was. Jordan repeated the same lie. She was helping with the new baby. But the next day, when she still hadn't returned, the biological child called his father on Wednesday to come to the home because something was not right. Spring's bedroom door was locked, her car was in the driveway, and she was not answering her phone. Her family knew she would never just disappear like this. The father reported Spring missing to the Logan County Sheriff's Office. Deputies arrived to conduct a welfare check. They spoke to the two teenage boys at the home. Both seemed nervous. The story didn't add up. Then, after deputies initially left, the father spoke privately with one of the adopted sons. The boy told him that Jordan killed Spring with a hammer and she was in the trash can at the street. A neighbor who witnessed the aftermath said she saw the two brothers fighting outside the home. When she tried to intervene, one of the teens told her, "He killed my mother." She immediately called 911.
I spoke with the neighbor who made the call to 911. She did not want to go on camera, but she says she saw police there earlier that day for a welfare check because the woman was missing. She says 30 minutes later, two teenagers were outside fighting. When she ran over to break them up, she says one of them told her, "He just killed my mom."
As soon as we arrived, there was a statement made that the body was going to be in a trash can outside of the home.
When deputies returned and searched the property, they made the grim discovery. The Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation said deputies responding to a fight between two teenagers at a home in the Cascata Falls neighborhood discovered Weems's body in a trash can outside of the home. Hunter McKee, a spokesperson for the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation, said what everyone was thinking. This is just a terrible case. Nobody deserves to die as this woman did. If you're still watching, you're the kind of person who wants the full story, the verified facts, and the respect these cases deserve. I put out true crime content like this every week, covering cases that matter and telling them the right way. Subscribe now so you don't miss the next one, and hit the bell so you're notified the moment it drops. All right, let's keep going. Jordan Weems was taken into custody on January 28, 2026. He was transported to the Canadian County Juvenile Detention Centre, the closest juvenile facility to Logan County. On the evening of January the 28th, Jordan was interviewed by the Logan County Sheriff's Office and read his Miranda rights. And that's when he confessed. According to court documents, Jordan Weems told the Logan County Sheriff's Office that he killed his mum, 49-year-old Spring Weems, with a hammer and his fists, then placed her in the trash can. Jordan faced 1 count of first-degree murder, 1 count of desecration of a human corpse, and 1 count of unauthorized removal of a dead body. Even though Jordan was only 16 years old, according to Oklahoma law, a 16-year-old charged with murder is treated as an adult. He is being held without bond. His next court appearance is set for February 24th, with a preliminary hearing scheduled for April 15th. But here's something critical that was revealed in court documents. While Jordan had no prior criminal record, he was committed to a psychiatric hospital in the last few weeks for suicidal thoughts. And this is a teenager who was struggling, a teenager who had been hospitalized for mental health issues just weeks before he killed his mother. And yet, the district attorney's office made clear in their motion to deny bail. The district attorney stated in the court documents that Jordan planned the killing, took the steps to hide the body, fabricated evidence, and lied to his family. This wasn't a mental health crisis. This was premeditated murder. The Cascata Falls neighborhood was devastated. Garland Hall, who had lived in the area for 9 years, told reporters, "Everybody's traumatized. Disbelief, just shattered, heartbroken. A lot of the people here in the neighborhood just can't believe it."
Neighbors speaking with us off camera about the tragic news.
Tragic because it involved youth.
Great neighborhood.
Yeah.
Kids are always running around, riding their bikes down the street, golf carts on the street.
This was a place where families felt safe, where mothers walked their kids to the bus stop and neighbors waved to each other in the morning. And now, one of their own was gone, murdered by her own son. The Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation released a statement from District Attorney Laura Austin Thomas, who said, "Our hearts go out to the children and family of the deceased. Our office is carefully reviewing the facts, and we will proceed responsibly and fairly, guided solely by the evidence, the law, and our ethical obligations." Spring's surviving children are now left to process the unimaginable. One brother is in the custody of the state. The other must live with the knowledge that his sibling killed the woman who adopted them both. And Jordan Weems sits in a juvenile detention center, charged as an adult, facing life in prison for the murder of the mother who tried to save him. So what really happened here? Was this a case of discipline that went too far and triggered a violent response in a mentally unstable teenager? Or was this the culmination of something deeper, something that had been building for years? We know that Jordan had been in psychiatric care for suicidal ideation. We know he had been running from police. We know he threatened to kill his mother multiple times in the days before the murder. And we know that Spring Weems was a single mother trying to raise troubled teenagers on her own, using methods that were harsh but driven by desperation. But here's what we don't know. Was there more going on in that home that hasn't come to light? Were there warning signs that were missed by teachers, counselors, or mental health professionals? The truth is, this case sits at the intersection of so many larger issues. Mental health care for teens, the challenges of adoptive parenting, the limits of discipline, and the role of intervention when a child is in crisis. Spring Weems believed she was doing the right thing. She believed that tough love would steer her son away from a life of crime. Instead, it may have pushed him toward the unthinkable. But we also have to acknowledge this. Jordan Weems made a choice. He planned the murder. He waited for his mother. He killed her. And then he lied about it. That is not the action of someone reacting in the moment. That is the action of someone who decided his mother deserved to die. And that is the most chilling part of this entire case. And this is a case that raises so many important questions about family, mental health, and justice. If you think this story is one people need to hear, share this video right now. Send it to someone who follows true crime or post it on your social media. These stories matter, and the more people who understand them, the better equipped we are as a society to prevent them from happening again. The case of Spring Weems and Jordan Weems is still unfolding. The preliminary hearing is scheduled for April, and at that time we'll learn more about the evidence, the defense strategy, and what Jordan's legal team will argue in his defense. But what we already know is this: a devoted mother is dead. A teenage boy is facing life in prison, and a family has been destroyed. Spring Weems spent her life trying to give children a better future. Now she opened her home, her heart, and her life to kids who needed her. She went to wrestling matches, she attended church, she believed in second chances. And in the end, one of the children she tried to save took her life. Hunter McKee from the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation said it best. This is an incredibly sad story. You're talking about a woman who lost her life in just a brutal way. There are no winners here, only loss. If you or someone you know is struggling with thoughts of violence or self-harm, please reach out for help. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is available 24/7 at 988. There are people who want to help. There are resources available, and no situation, no matter how desperate it seems, is worth taking a life. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and welcome to the month of February.